I'm Shane DuBay. I'm a researcher at the University of Michigan. I'm looking at bird specimens to photograph them to reconstruct historical pollution levels through the British and Irish Isles through the industrial era. We began this project looking at birds in the industrial Midwest in the US, but the natural history collections don't really begin there in any large way until the 1880s. But here in the UK and in Ireland, natural history collecting extends further back in time. We're mostly focused on trying to cover the extent of the Industrial Revolution. We can look really from the 1830s to present. So these are two skylarks. They were both collected in the late 1930s, but from two different places. So this cleaner skylark is from the greater Oxford area, while the really soiled skylark is from Lancashire and sort of industrial regions in Lancashire. And you can see that these light feathers are supposed to be those are the feathers that the birds would be molting in, these light belly feathers. But really, given the structure of the feathers, they're really great at trapping particulate. So these birds are molting once a year. They're growing in new feathers, and then birds in areas with heavy pollution would have then been collecting this particulate on their feathers, and then it's sort of stored in perpetuity. So to actually quantify the soot, we are using a photometric called reflectance, just from light to dark. And with digital photographs, we can quantify how light feathers are, how dark feathers are, and plotting those reflectance values through time, we can estimate what atmospheric conditions were like for a given time and place. Our project is specifically looking at black carbon, which is a byproduct of coal burning. Black carbon's the result of inefficient burning of coal that's emitted into the atmosphere, and it covers the landscape, covers buildings, it covers birds, it covers pretty much anything it lands on. We're looking at mostly common and widespread British birds that you might find in a garden, things like house sparrows and European robins, or birds like these meadowlarks that have light breast and belly feathers. And we're mostly interested in birds with light feathers on the underside because it allows us to maximize the signal strength that we're looking for, because we're looking for changes from light to dark in plumage coloration. We don't see much black carbon on these specimens, on modern specimens from, say, the US or in the UK, even though particulate emission still is an issue. I think these specimens like this skylark represent or really highlight just how bad air quality was 100 years ago. And even if particulate pollution is still an issue in the UK or the US, we can't capture it in any measurable way. Unlike there are places throughout the world, say in Delhi or Beijing, where I spent time in Beijing, and you see the birds moving around through the parks in the city, and they're actually covered in particulate and soiled, and so it's still an issue globally.